need this information, so why am I even going to school? And the smart parent, the wise parent, always knows the why. So we say to our children, it's really not about the information. It's about the discipline. It's about the obedience. It's about follow through. It's about showing up on time. It's about being faithful. You are building who you are, not just what you do. I was talking to a student the other day, and they were complaining about, learning a bunch of nothing in school. And I said, really, if you don't learn anything, it's okay. Because you can just chat GPT anything you need. Just AI whatever you need, and you'll be fine. However, who are you? What kind of person are you? Are you faithful? Are you disciplined? Are you honest? Are you integrous? How's your character? These are things you can learn in class, dealing with people, going through the process, and showing up every day. So maybe it's not so much what you do, but who you be. Who you bees. Okay, not good English. Needless to say, I was sleeping through school. We always ask people, what do you do? Which really isn't much. It's kind of irrelevant, really. What do you do? It doesn't really matter, does it? Well, I'm a salesman, I'm a manager, I'm a computer engineer, I'm a code writer, I'm a whatever I am. What does that matter? What's important is who I be. What kind of character? What kind of person? What's the purpose of your life? But we don't ask about that stuff because that would be too much, right? That's a little too far. So I just ask, what do you do? God isn't so concerned with what you do. He's concerned with who you are. And why do you do what you do? That's a harder question. In Hebrews chapter 12, it says that Jesus is the author and the finisher of our faith. So we're following him. We're walking with him. He's the author, the beginning. He's the finisher, the end. And Jesus, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despised the shame, and then sat down at the right hand of the Father. He did what he did for the purpose of fulfilling the plans, the purposes, the will of the Father. In Hebrews chapter 2, it says, I've come to do thy will, O God. And he was able to sit down at the right hand of the Father in heaven. So to follow him, it's not just what you do, it's why do you do it? And what do people say when you ask them, what do you do? Well, I have this job, I have that job, I'm in this company, I'm in that company. Okay, if you ask the question, why do you do it, what would they say? Well, I got to pay the bills, right? You got to make a living. This is how I was raised. My dad would say, you got to get a job, and you got to pay the bills, and you got to make a living. Well, why would I do that? Well, because you got to do that. You got to get a job, you got to pay the bills, you got to make a living. Well, what's the purpose? This is where I got stuck as a young person before I was a Christian. I got stuck on the make-a-living mentality because what I saw was people who were miserable. They're not having any fun. They're not happy about their life, and their marriages were failing. My parents' marriage failed, and people around me, I was watching marriages fail, and I saw that people were more excited when they could stop doing what they do than doing what they do. So, right, we start hearing these kind of things. Thank God it's Friday. Why? Why didn't you thank God for Monday? Well, because Monday sucks.
Yeah.
Tuesday's worse. Wednesday and Thursday are terrible. But Friday, woo, I can start drinking at noon. I can be drunk by the time I leave the office, and I got 2 days off. So you're excited to get away from what you do. So that tells me why you're doing it isn't very energizing. It's not very motivating. It's not very fulfilling. And then, not only are we excited for Friday, we're even more excited for vacations. Well, I got 3 more months, vacation's coming. Woo! We're going to have a good time. Can't wait. We get to go to Disneyland, put on some ears, and act like a mouse. We're going on vacation where we can, relax and get away from it all, which is good. It's great. But you're still expressing this joy to get away from what is your normal life. Maybe there should be a motivation, a reason, a purpose beyond just making a living, surviving, paying the bills, and finally being able to get away. And then there's the ultimate escape when we get to retire. Woo! When I get to retire, man, that's going to be nice. Well, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm just going to do nothing. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to just have fun doing nothing. So you're going to live your life doing what you hate and celebrate when you don't have to do it anymore. The bummer is many people, when they retire, get sick, lose their health, die young. Why? Because they had nothing to do. They thought getting away was the joy of life, when in fact getting away left them with nothing. And where there is no vision, people perish, right? So we need purpose. We need a reason why. We need something that motivates us beyond survival. Last night in the graduation, Terry Tarsik talked about living by the flesh or living by the Spirit. And he said, when we're moved by our flesh, it's just the natural being. It's like an animal is moved by their flesh. And animals fight to survive. They're looking for food. They're looking for shelter. They will do what they have to do to survive. Why? That's just made. It's put into their flesh. But they don't have a spirit like you. You have a spirit. You're a spiritual being. The Bible said your soul and your spirit are your inner man, your inner woman. So if you just live by your flesh, just trying to get by, just trying to survive, just trying to make a living, you'll never find joy or fulfillment. Because God created you in His likeness and in His image. You're not just here to survive. You're not just here to get by. So, what's the purpose? What's the calling? There's a lot of words we could use. What's your vision? Why do you do what you do? Well, I got to do it because I got to pay the bills. Or we have this new generation, younger people today, that don't want to do anything. Because they looked at the next generation and they said, you're miserable. Why should I be like that? Why should I follow you? Work all my life trying to buy a house, never get the house paid off. Doing all this work that I don't enjoy, and having a job that's no fun, and people take advantage of me, and I'm going to wait for the government to send me a check. Because I got mental health problems. I got ADHD and depression. So that's their mentality. I'm just going to survive and let someone else take care of me. Okay, so there's a different way of thinking, guys. Let's not do what we do to survive. Let's find a purpose from our Father. Let's find a reason from God that causes us to live on a higher level. And let's say to our kids and to the younger generations, let's say, you are talented, you are gifted, you are needed to be a blessing. Don't live to get a blessing. Live to be a blessing. Make a difference in your world. Add something good to your world. Don't just talk about, when do I get paid? Be a blessing. Help others. Bring blessing to others. And then you'll get paid. But when you live for self, you end up empty. You're just excited when you can medicate the pain of your reality. I got to party. I got to get drunk. Where there is no vision, people smoke a lot of pot. Why? Because they're trying to medicate the pain of their reality, right? I don't need to escape if I'm living in the joy of godly purpose. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I have a reason why that's energizing and exciting and powerful. And I don't really need to retire. Now, as you get older, your schedule changes, your job changes, what you're doing changes. But I'm not going to retire. What if I came in here on Sunday morning? Last week I turned 70, right? Yeah. So, I'm here today. You know, I'm 70 years old. Not what I used to be. And I just want you to know I'm going to retire. Thank God. Thank God I can finally get away from you. Thank God I don't have to do this anymore. Thank God I can finally stay home and relax a little bit. What would you think about me? You'd be like, Pastor's tripping. That guy's got problems. He got mental health problems. Well, but that's what many of you say. Thank God when I retire, I can finally get away from the office. I can finally get away from the job. I put in 30 years on that job. They never appreciated me. Your purpose was wrong. Why you did it was wrong. Not what you did. You need to do things that take your skill and take your mind and take your abilities and take your creativity and put yourself into it. That's good. But why did you do it? Well, I'm just trying to pay the bills. That's the problem. You think survival is a goal or a reason to go to work. Well, you know, if I don't show up, I don't get paid. That's the problem. You think getting paid is a reason to do what you do. I'm asking you to shift, to live for a higher purpose. Getting paid is part of it, but it's not why. Why is because I want to be a blessing, because I want to make an impact. I want to have influence over others. I want to bring light to those in my office or those that I work with. I want to invest in things that will help people. I want to give so that I can add to the kingdom of God. Stop living for self and start living for others. And then what you do is not near as important as why you do it. Let me read it to you from the Bible. Ephesians chapter 5. Look at Ephesians chapter 5, starting in verse 14. Awake, you who sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. You ever looked at people on the bus or on the train, on the tram as they're going to work? Just kind of sleepy, just kind of spacey, just kind of disconnected from everything around them. And some people kind of live their life that way. They're just kind of trudging through life, surviving, getting by. But Paul said, no, wake up. Let light shine in you. Come alive. Let's live for something more. Verse 15. See that you walk circumspectfully. What does that mean? To live with purpose. To live understanding the big picture. Not as fools, but as wise. Redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is. What's the will of the Lord for your life? As a young person, not knowing my future, not knowing my purpose, not knowing what to do, not knowing why, not having a vision, I turned to drugs. And I just wanted to medicate. And I got to the point where I didn't even get out of bed without taking something to try to numb the pain of my reality. And some of you are kind of in that habit right now. You got the drinking thing going, or the pot thing going, or the tranquilizers, some from the doctor, some from the street, whatever it is. And I'm offering you a higher way of life. Now, look what Paul writes here. Understand what the will of the Lord is. Do not be drunk with wine, which is dissipation. Your life drains out of you. You dissipate. But be filled with the Spirit. Find the joy. Find the excitement. Find the purpose that energizes your life. Notice there's two ways to go here. Drunk with wine or filled with the Spirit. Can't do both. You got to pick one. Well, I'm not giving up my wine. No, he didn't say you can't have a glass of wine. He said don't be drunk with wine. To me, it doesn't matter. Drink your wine, drink whatever you drink, have your beer, smoke your joint. I don't care. But be aware, when you need to get away from your reality, when you need to get drunk, so you don't have to think about what's going on at the office or wherever, that's the problem. You are now avoiding your life. You're trying to medicate because you don't like your life. Now, we make up a lot of reasons. Oh, no, I just want to have fun. Can't a guy just have a good time? Can't you have a good time without being drunk? Without being smoked up? Smoked out? Or pilled up? Well, I don't really need it. I just enjoy it. Yeah, you tripping, bro. You lying to me. Worse than that, you lying to yourself. Don't be drunk with wine. Be filled with the Spirit. Find your passion. Find your energy. Find your joy in living with a purpose from God. Now think of it this way. The Creator always defines the creation. Right? So somebody created the chair. Somebody created this pulpit right here, this stand. Somebody created this notebook. Whoever was the creator defined the purpose. This is why we made it. This is what it's for. God created you and me, and God gave us a calling, a purpose, a reason for being on the earth. And so you need to know that. You need to find that and believe that. And it really doesn't matter what I think or anybody else thinks. It's what you believe. It's what you think your purpose is. The funny thing about humans is we're so different. Some of you have purpose in children. And some of us are like, whew, I'm really glad you love children, because I don't. Right? Or you find purpose in being a doctor, which is not something I would be attracted to. Right? I had this friend recently who's a surgeon, and he just loves it. He doesn't talk to people. He's not really into relationship. He just likes to cut you open. I'm like, bro, that's crazy. But he saves lives doing surgery. And the purpose is not just to make the incision. The purpose is to save the life, right? So what's your purpose? It's going to be unique. Others are not going to think it's cool, but it doesn't matter. The Creator made you in a certain way to do certain things and love it and just get into it. So whatever that is, that becomes your why, becomes the motivation. And you don't need to escape and get away. And oh, thank God, I got the weekend. Oh, thank God I can retire. No, it's just the joy of living for what my Creator has given me. It's the joy of being what God has created me to be. It's no longer just what I do, it's what I be. So many people try to get healthy, try to lose weight, try to get in shape. And at the beginning of the year, you know how it goes. We join the gym and we commit to work out 5 days a week. And it lasts for 2 weeks. And we wasted another gym membership and we didn't follow through. And then we feel bad and we kind of go on like the same we did last year. How come it's hard to make those changes? Because of why. Why do you want to get healthy? Why do you want to eat differently? Why do you want to lose weight? Well, I don't know. Somebody told me I should. Okay, it's never going to work that way. You can't change because somebody told you you should. How does that work for your kids? You should do this. They're like, whatever. You have to find a reason, a purpose. So Wendy's in the gym. Wendy's probably the most disciplined person I know. She's in the gym every day. She's walking. She's treadmilling. She's what do you call it? She's ellipticaling. She's on the bicycle. And then she's doing the weights. And then she does the steam room. And then she does the cold plunge. That's miserable. It's like, wow, babe, you are strong.